here's Rum Soak Studios at Technics with Nick. G'day, Nick.
Hi.
What are we doing here today, Nick?
We're removing the choke butterfly from an XR Carby. Same XR Carby's on 250, 400, 600, 650R.
Why would I want to remove the butterfly?
Two reasons. This little flap here, which is an anti-backfire flap, tends to flap around more than it should, and either this little flap snaps off, or if I grab a handy McCuney needle, this main flap tends to snap through here and here. Then this part of the aluminium choke butterfly gets sucked in and closes up your spark plug gap, and your engine stops.
So in other words, it goes into the valves and causes thousands of dollars worth of damage.
Yeah, it normally, I've seen XRs eat them and it just passes through and harms nothing. I've also seen them bend connecting rods. So
how will I start the bike if it's cold?
all right, if you remove this, if you lean the bike over to the right, you've got to do it to the right, not to the left.
So what I do with my XR, I put the stand down, I pivot it on the stand.
Yep.
And it floods.
Yep. So you make it flood until fuel overflows out of here.
Yep.
Then if you stand it up, what that does is artificially raise the fuel height in the carby and makes it rich.
And rich is what we want to start cold.
It will only keep it rich for maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, but normally you only have the choke on for 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
And if your jetting's pretty right, it's not a problem, isn't it?
No, it's fine. So you only really need to do that on freezing cold days. Sometimes on a really cold day it might stall the first time, repeat the process, it'll start again. I've done this on 600s that we've used in the snow when it's freezing. Righto, so how we actually do it is these two screws have been flared out slightly on the back side, but if you use a good number 2 Phillips, then it'll go in there fine.
So just say they're flared out to stop them from falling out.
Yeah, because you can imagine if these screws fall out, it's bad.
Yep.
So you just got to wind them out. And basically you're better off to keep all of these parts, because sometimes people don't like bikes that have the choke out of them and they prefer it with the choke in. So if you...
I guess we probably should cover off that there is a one-piece plate you can buy, isn't there?
There is a one-piece plate, but they still have the same problem. They still snap off. The main reason that I remove the choke plate is it's actually more of a performance mod than too much else, because the choke plate and the spindle, as far as airflow through the carb, are actually a fairly major restriction. Yeah, so if you just pull that little sucker out, like that, the spring will remain captive on the other side. Our choke is already loose.
I loosened it off.
So remove that assembly there.
So when you say the spring is captive, can you just cover that off for us?
So that spring, there's a little spring in there that acts against that flat there.
Doesn't go
right, that spring won't fall out. Pretty much that side you don't need to do anything to it. Give this side a bit of a clean and grab a bolt.
I'll grab a bolt. What size bolt you got there, Nick?
I just use a 6x1 Allen head cap.
6x1 Allen head cap.
Just like that. You can use whatever you want. Just 6mm bolt's the best, and that will just neatly fit into that hole. I'll mix up a bit of 2-part epoxy, a bit of DevCon, liquid metal, whatever you want.
Liquid metal, DevCon, epoxy.
Glue that little sucker in.
That's happy days.
And that's it. Then you are job done.
Straight through. Happy days. So you could put a 250 piston there, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could.
I mean, who'd have one? Unless your wife rides one. Righto, Rum Soak out.